President Akufo-Addo has announced government is pursuing a review of the Millennium Challenge Compact signed with the U.S. government that will turn around the electricity company of Ghana. He told the May Day parade here in Accra, government, among others, wants to see Ghanaians own majority stake in the new company that will take over ECG, whilst also ensuring the current workforce will not be laid off. The president also reiterated his commitment to rid the public sector payroll of ghost names, a move he says should save the state about 400 million cedis. Maxwell Akbagba has more in this report.
They came in their thousands, singing, dancing and holding high their union banners. It is the 17th National May Day Parade at the Black Star Square, and these workers are using the opportunity to draw government and other stakeholders' attention to their grievances. And they let their placards do the talking, from workers of the Tema Oil Refinery who wanted the refinery to be preserved for future generations, to staff of the state electricity distributor ECG who are against the Millennium Challenge Compact, which would see private sector participation in the company. The president in his address themed Ghana at 60, mobilizing for Ghana's future through the creation of decent jobs, assured the ECG workers in particular government had their interests at heart as far as the concession agreement is concerned, explaining new terms to govern the compact have been put forward.
In this regard, government has amended the terms of the concession agreement to require that 1. Ghanaians own at least 51% of the concession. 2. There should be no involuntary layoffs as a result of the concession. 3. The term of the concession will be reduced from 25 to 20 years. We believe that these amendments meet the aspiration of Ghanaians in protecting the jobs of workers and in assuring the control and viability of ECG.
President Akufo-Addo said his government's efforts to rid the public sector payroll of ghost workers will save the state millions of cedis.
The cost of maintaining these 26,589 names on government payroll is 36,160 million 103 Ghana cedis per month. This means the government stands to save the country over 433 million Ghana cedis on this year's budget alone by this exercise. Other efforts aimed at cleaning the payroll being undertaken by government include 1. A new payment system that will integrate the GIPS payment platform for salaries to be paid directly to workers without any manual intervention, as always has been the case.
He said his government would encourage the establishment of more gold refineries, which will pay fair prices to miners, and lauded the efforts of the media in the fight against Galamsey.
For small-scale mining to be conducted in a sustainable manner, all the indications are that the Galamseyers, those who undertake the hazardous and tedious work, do not make much money, as they are routinely cheated from getting a fair price for the gold they find. We are therefore encouraging the establishment of gold refineries, which will pay fair prices to the miners. I want to acknowledge with special thanks the support and role being played by the media in this fight against Galamsey. The media, with the overwhelming support of well-meaning citizens, have given true meaning to the call for all, quote, to be citizens and not spectators, unquote.
For Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yauba, the unfair conditions of a section of the workforce is still a major issue that needs to be dealt with.
We have issues like low wages, low pensions, abuse of workers' rights, occupational health and safety.
Cantonmental special.
For most of the workers at the parade grounds, though, being part of the event meant that they at least had jobs. So however meager their incomes and however poor their conditions, it was something to be grateful for. Maxwell Akbagba for Joy News.
Now, the president's announcement that government is seeking a review of the terms of the Millennium Challenge Corporation should come as good news to staff of the Electricity Company of Ghana. But the Public Utility Workers Union of Ghana, which represents the interest of the workers, is not impressed. General Secretary Michael Edumata Nyantechi, who has been leading the ECG workers' opposition to the concession agreement, questioned why there was no dialogue with them before government went ahead to renegotiate the deal.
And we are very much disappointed in the sense that the president has indicated during the State of the Nation address, and this was re-echoed by the Minister of Finance when he presented the budget to Parliament, that there will be a dialogue on this issue between Labour, MIDA and ECG before any firm position is announced. But here we are hearing this kind of statements when we haven't had any such dialogue. So is it that the president, what he said about the dialogue, he didn't mean it, or he's just taking workers for granted? We think that it is important that all stakeholders sit around and discuss, and then we come to certain consensus. We are not saying that as workers, without us, government cannot take decision. No, but what we are saying is that we must be involved, and there are key issues that we need to discuss before we come to certain conclusions concerning this compact.
Also, members of the Registered Small-Scale Miners Association in the Ashanti region used May Day to voice out their disquiet over the current moratorium on all small-scale mining operations. Though the association's members are engaged in legitimate business sanctioned by law, they have been caught in the crosshairs of the massive campaign against Galamsey operations, blamed for the pillaging of the environment and pollution of the country's water bodies. Government maintains the ban is temporary as it works out a policy that will properly regulate small-scale mining whilst ensuring that a proper reclamation program is put in place. But the small-scale miners who showed up for May Day parade in Kumasi say there cannot be any justification why they should be stopped from doing legitimate business. Rankosai speaks for them.
Well, what it is first of all, we acknowledge, you see, it's been like 2-3 months now. All you hear on the social media was Galamsey, Galamsey. But God willing, on the 26th of this month, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo came out and draw a line between illegal mining and small-scale mining. And he denounced that he's only against illegal mining. If that is the case, why is it that we that have our licenses that are registered as small-scale miners, we are not working now? That's a tangible question we are asking him. And in view of that, we want to tell him that when you look at our placards, all we are saying that he should honor the Constitution, and then we, the small-scale miners, should work now, should go back to our workplaces now.
Now, the minority in Parliament is accusing the Akufo-Addo-led administration of forcing workers in the public and civil service to resign while unlawfully terminating the employment of others. In a statement signed by the minority leader Haruna Idrisu to commemorate May Day, the NDC is making claims of mass transfers of some workers while others have been asked to proceed on leave since President Akufo-Addo took over the reins of government. This, according to the NDC, coupled with recent attacks on public institutions and employees by vigilante groups, has created fear and panic among the workforce in the country. As the country marks Workers' Day today, the minority says these incidents threaten job security and are increasingly making the workplace unsafe for employees in the public sector. We're taking a break on Joy News Prime, but still to come in the bulletin, Engineers and Planners, the company owned by the ex-president's brother and recently dragged to court for failing to pay its workers' social security contributions, suggests the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, has not dealt fairly with it. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Construction firm Engineers and Planners has responded to allegations by the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, that it has failed to pay the social security contributions of its workers. The company was dragged to court on Saturday by SSNIT for allegedly failing to pay the Social Security contributions of the workers between the periods February to July 2015, June to August 2016, and October 2016. But a statement issued by EMP Monday explained that on December 22, 2016, it entered into a negotiated agreement with SSNIT for the payment of arrears of Social Security contributions of 1.6 million cedis. However, on March 2, SSNIT wrote to EMP to serve notice that it had abrogated the negotiated agreement due to its failure to make the installment payment for February 2017 when it became due. EMP, however, says it only delayed by 2 days. According to the statement, EMP made a request for SSNIT to reconsider its decision to abrogate the negotiated agreement, but SSNIT declined the request. In some other labor issues, Employment and Labor Relations Minister Ignatius Bafwewua says he's commissioned another inquiry into the alleged case of assault against the female staff of the Moako restaurant. This will be the second time the minister has ordered investigations into the case in which Evelyn Boachi's face was reportedly shoved into a bowl of pepper, allegedly by the Belimpe branch manager of the restaurant, Jihad Chaban. The case itself is before the Beka Circuit Court, but Mr. Bafwewua says a second probe into the matter will help him come to a firm conclusion without prejudice to the court process.
The Labour Department has concluded its findings, but I believe you are aware that the criminal aspect of that particular case is still pending. We don't want to prejudice the outcome of that, so that's why we're holding on. And even that, I have also asked even the second group to go back to Moako and also to have, so that at least I can be able to have second opinion about even the findings from the first investigations that are asked to be conducted. As I said, we want to give Ghanaians what they want. We want to be as frank as possible. So we want that whatever we say to the Ghanaian public will be close to the reality of the situation. That is why I said I've tasked another committee to also do a further investigation so that at least I'll be able to compare the two. And then whilst we also see to the legal aspect which is being pursued at the court. But the most important thing is that the first preliminary investigations have been conducted. I have the draft report, and then a second group is also doing a concurrent investigations.
The next hearing of the case, which is currently before the Beka Court, is Wednesday, May 3. The Member of Parliament for Ayensuano constituency, Ayapae Samuel, and the people of Yakoko have vowed to fight illegal sand winning in the area even if it requires putting their lives on the line. The Member of Parliament for the area also criticized the Suhum Krabwa Kolta and Nsawam District Police for what he described as its snail's pace approach to the investigations into the killing of a farmer at Yakoko by the sand-winning cartel. At the funeral grounds of the late Kwabna Moako Saturday morning, which was also used to protest illegal sand-winning activities, the Member of Parliament and his constituents asked the police to fast-track the investigations and intensify the war against the illegality.
It is now a matter of life and death in a small mining community of Yakoko between illegal sand winners and the locals. The community has in recent times become the hotbed for sand winning. The challenge, though, is that sand winning is done illegally and at all times. Residents of Yakoko, predominantly a farming community that supplies farm produce to the people of Nsawam and parts of the national capital, have experienced drops in the levels of production in the last 2 which was staged by the youth at the funeral grounds, was to show their displeasure at the operations of the sun-winning cartel and the seeming inaction by the police.
These sun-winners need to be dealt with. We need them. We want the president of the land do everything possible to get those guys.
The people in this community are very vigilant, and there is nothing that we can do than to appeal to the authority to intervene on our behalf to make sure that the sun winning in this community is banned forever.
The Yakoko community falls within the Ayenswana constituency, where Samuel Ayepe is Member of Parliament. He tells me the fight against the illegal sun-winning activity is daunting. He made a call to government on behalf of the constituents.
There's been 3 separate occasions that I have gone to court with a lawyer to defend some of these farmers. They sent them to High Court, charged them for armed robbery, knowing very well that they went there to defend their farm. If I'm a farmer and the sun winners are destroying my crops and I call the police failed to come, and I try to go and protect my farm, then the police will come and arrest you rather the farmer and they charge you for armed robbery.
Are you suggesting, Honorable, in any way that the sun winners are in bed with the police, or the police?
Not only in the police. When they come into area, they corrupt the police, the chiefs, politicians, everybody that come into their way. They try as much as they can to corrupt everybody and have their way through.
Until then, the community would have to endure as their lands, forests and environments are pillaged, with implications for drinking water and the air they breathe. Latif Idris, Joy News, Yakoko.
Also, the Member of Parliament for the Savelugu constituency in the northern region, Mohammed Abdul Samed Gunu, is appealing to the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, to come to the aid of over 300 displaced residents of a rainstorm that hit his constituency. Last week's storm destroyed several homes at Kanshegu, Diare and Pedua, compelling victims to seek shelter with neighbors. Ashwin Mohammed's report.
The Savelugu Member of Parliament, Mohammed Abdul Samed Gunu, made the appeal when he donated 10 packets of roofing sheets to the storm victims so they could re-roof their houses, explaining they've become vulnerable and cannot afford to fix their homes themselves.
I've also made an appeal to National Disaster Management Authority, NADMO, to come to the aid of the affected households. This is very sad because we are preparing to go into a famine season, and considering the excruciating poverty levels of our people and this natural disaster have hit us, it is actually a great worry to some of us. So I think we pray to God Almighty Allah to make this one the last one that witnessed such a natural disaster.
The disaster displaced hundreds of residents and caused damage to properties worth thousands of cedis. He implored his constituents to plant trees in their neighborhood to serve as windbreaks. Some of the victims said they are holding out with friends and families in their neighborhood.
We still request for more support. As you see, it is just beginning to rain, and we will want to go to the farms. This thing happened, some of the monies that we go there and spend will just be used to mend this thing.
Hashmin Mohammed's report for Joy News.
Government's Rural Water Supply Organization, the Rural Water and Sanitation Agency, is warning of a severe water crisis in the Upper West region unless something is done to refurbish the malfunctioning supply systems in the region. Though the region has 28 small mechanized water systems and over 2,000 boreholes to serve the people, several of the beneficiary communities are deprived of the utility as most of the systems have broken down due to lack of maintenance. This, the Water and Sanitation Agency is blaming on embezzlement of funds meant for maintenance work, as well as sheer incompetence on the part of some of the workers managing the systems. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Governments over the years, with support from most of its development partners, especially the World Bank, have drilled thousands of boreholes and established municipal town water systems for several communities in the Upper West region. As a result of that, it has upped the percentage of water coverage in the region. 76% of the people in rural communities in the Upper West region are said to have access to potable water. However, most of these water systems are on the verge of collapsing and folding up due to mismanagement and embezzlement allegedly by some of the water and sanitation management boards in the region. Newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, Wolanyo Kojo Siabi, at a breakfast meeting in Wa, expressed concern over the malfunctioning and breakdown of some of the water facilities due to lack of culture of maintenance.
Our small town water systems are deteriorating gradually in quality, whereas resources needed to maintain and expand the networks are consistently abused at the district and community levels. If we continue applying our old methods, we will wake up one day to realize that we need new funding to reconstruct all of these systems. The Golu and Tumu water systems are almost broken down, and there is need to change the management system so that we can restore water supply within the shortest possible time.
The Upper West region currently has 28 small town water systems. 2 of the systems are currently not operating fully due to mismanagement and huge debt owed to the Volta River Authority, VRA. Power supply to the water pumping machines by the VRA has intermittently been cut for 3 months, paving the way for some residents to use traditional and orthodox means to search for the commodity. Mr. Wolanyo revealed his plans for the agency and the two Sisalo communities.
In order to make sure that we reconstruct the agency, we have to first collapse and break the agency. We will break ourselves, the individuals in the agency. We have to reform our culture. We have to reform our behaviors so that once we get up and move into the new structure of the agency, we can maintain it. That is what we're going to do. And we're going to start first from the Upper West and invest in Tumu and Golu to make sure that if it works, then it will work for the company.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Watching Joy News Prime, still to come, we'll tell you how a seemingly minor gesture involving kola nuts has brought renewed hope. The long-standing Dagbon chieftaincy dispute could be resolved soon.
This particular event today, he is calling for unity among all the Congress.
And there's also the story of 2 police officers accused of stealing the billy goat of their former boss. Business News is next, so stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to Business here on Joy News Prime. Now, in our first story, mine workers across the country have added their voice to calls for government to go to the rescue of Ghanaian businesses in China following reports of maltreatment against them. The development is allegedly in response to Ghana's government's renewed aggressive fight against illegal mining, which the Chinese are engaged in. The Ghana Mine Workers Union has been reacting to this in a press conference.
It's a sovereign nation, and we don't need anybody to call the bluff. And so we can use diplomacy, but we're very blunt with them that we cannot tolerate that rubbish, because this is a nation that laws must work. You can't go and do that in China. You know, so beyond the diplomacy, excuse me, I think that we've got to be very tough on them. And we want to make sure that a nation that's struggling to keep our purse, spend money where it should be spent. We're careful that we don't entertain this diplomacy to really affect us. So for me, if they're doing the wrong thing, we'll flag them out. The government will be very strong on that, and I think that that's the way to go. But I'm saying it's quite interesting, and it's unfortunate that we're talking about it this time around. We mentioned this 20 years ago. We are at the forefront of making sure that this menace is dealt with from the right perspective. However, it's good that it's been tackled with the seriousness that it deserves. I expect the president to be very bold and make sure that, look, if this can even cost him his political career, he will ever be the president that his name will be in the history of our nation. And I think eventually, I've listened to him. I'm proud of his impetus. He needs ministers and MCs and DC who support him. And we as a nation must support him. And in the event that everything gets well, they become a platform for to make sure we give him a nod, because Galamsey is a major threat to our nation.
What is the claim that some of your members are aware of some of these guys who are doing these Galamsey operations, and they are sometimes fronting for them?
Well, I have no idea, because the last came mine, that's in more organized manner. If they do, the security guys will not spare them. So please don't let us get to the issue about the main issue about what we see in the public domain, where water bodies are being messed up, and for that matter, the need for it to nip in the bag. So primarily, if they do it, the system will deal with them. But the issue is that we all see what happening in the public domain, which is very, very important. Water bodies are really being put in a very, very bad shape. We spend more money, and we think as a nation with a very lean pace, we are careful to the extent that we allow some excuses to really dampen our sports.
Prince William Anchor speaking to Joy Business after that press conference. Now, in other news tonight, President Akufo-Addo has indicated government's commitment to ensure more workers are roped into the formal sector. This is after he lamented the wide gap between the number of workers in the formal and that in the informal sector. This was in his address to workers at the May Day celebrations in Accra.
This year's May Day celebration was under the theme Mobilizing Ghana's Future Through Creation of Decent Jobs. According to President Akufo-Addo, the government has taken the lead role in this agenda by announcing initiatives such as the tax reliefs in the 2017 budget. He therefore challenged the private sector to take advantage to boost the number of formal workers in the country.
We all know that the number of people in what can be described as formal work is a tiny part of the workforce of our country. The figures I have seen suggest that the size of the workforce in our country is about 13 million people, and there are less than 2 million in formal work. Unfortunately, much of our preoccupation seems to be with this small group in the formal sector. It is time for us all to bring more of our people into the formal sector. It would indeed be in everybody's interest to do so. The first order of business, therefore, must be to get our economy out of the doldrums and create the atmosphere for our entrepreneurs to bring on the jobs.
The president also highlighted the need for more skills development in educational institutions across the country.
We have to rectify the serious neglect of skills training by modernizing and strengthening technical vocational education and training institutions. We have to formalize all forms of apprenticeships and master craftsmanship and promote entrepreneurship. Through these new areas of commitment, government intends to address the long prevailing skills mismatch between majority of school leavers and industry requirements. We have to tailor the curriculum of skills development and job learning based institutions to current industrial needs, both at the enterprise level and the job market.
The Trades Union Congress emphasized the need for jobs to be created across all industry. The Secretary General, Dr. Anthony Yauba, pledged their support for government in creating jobs in the country.
We in organized labor would like to pledge our support for you and your government, together with businesses, in the true spirit of tripartism and social partnership, guided by the principles of mutual respect. We can achieve faster growth and create decent jobs for Ghanaians. We believe that you can lead us out of poverty and restore hope to all Ghanaians. Restoring hope requires that we create decent jobs for Ghanaians. It means we need to revitalize all the sectors, including agriculture, manufacturing. The textile industry, for example, can generate tens of thousands of jobs for young people across the country. We therefore expect some of the factories under the One District, One Factory program to be textile factories. The agriculture sector and the other sectors can also create more jobs. That is why we have pledged support for all your initiatives, Mr. President.
Today is President Akufo-Addo's first May Day address as president of the country.
And you probably may have heard the president speak about entrepreneurship. Well, government is planning to establish a business development authority as well as a bank for small and medium enterprises. Deputy Trade Minister Carlos Ahenkorah revealed this at this year's edition of the Ghana Entrepreneurs and Corporate Executive Awards, which saw founder and president of Group Ideal, Nico Tejani, named as the best entrepreneur for 2016. It's organized by the Entrepreneurs Foundation Ghana is aimed at recognizing the contribution of Ghanaian entrepreneurs in sustaining economic growth and generating employment. Deputy Minister of Trade Carlos Ahenkorah outlined to Joy Business some interventions by government to improve the business environment for entrepreneurs.
Our intention is to create a small business development authority to cover the activities of small SMEs in such a way that at least they will be also recognized in terms of productivity, in terms of marketability, and so on. We even intend to set up a bank that would only cater for small SMEs, in which case availability of capital and cost of capital would be as it were, covered in such a way that they don't suffer.
Founder and president of Group Ideal, Nico Tejani, received the overall award of Best Entrepreneur of the Year.
There are sometimes that as businesses, we keep on lamenting about economic challenges. But let me say that as economists, in every economic challenge, there are opportunities in it. So I'm saying that as businessmen, let's look at the opportunity that exists, even in economic difficulties, and let's take advantage of it. You know, I can say that at the point that you see all of us complaining, oh, the CD is depreciating, the dollar is going up, but it's a good opportunity for other sectors of the economy that export more. So let's take advantage. That's also that government is coming with a lot of policies to revive the economic resource of this country. Now it's up to us as entrepreneurs to take advantage of it and then improve our lot. We cannot sit down to see foreigners coming in, partnering with government, we complain, we say that foreigners are taking it. We as a people, we also don't take steps. We don't take bold steps. We are always risk averse, you know, and so we should take a little bit of risk so that we can see that, so that we can see that, what we call it, the thousands of our brothers and sisters on the streets of Accra are out of the streets.
The theme for the award ceremony was promoting economic growth through private sector development and corporate governance. From entrepreneurship to manufacturing, and Guinness Ghana has been adjudged Manufacturing Company of the Year. This was at the maiden edition of the Ghana Manufacturing Awards held over the weekend.
Maiden edition of the Ghana Manufacturing Awards was under the theme Celebrating Innovation in Manufacturing. Guinness Ghana emerged overall winners after bagging 2 awards, the CSR Manufacturing Company of the Year and Waste Management Manufacturing Company of the Year. Gabriel Opoku Asari is the Corporate Relations Director for Guinness Ghana.
We are quite humbled and excited at the same time. We're happy that our efforts have been recognized as a premium beverage company within the country, in Ghana. Over the past year, we've done quite a number of projects within the business. If you look at the awards that we won tonight around sustainability, around waste management, within our brewery, we've achieved zero non-hazardous waste to landfill. Innovation drives our business. So winning the main award with the theme, Innovative Manufacturing, really epitomizes what we've been going after as a business. So we're quite excited. We are so happy that we won these awards. It shows what Guinness Ghana Breweries is really about, exciting our consumers with great premium, best tasting liquids every time. You can talk about our whole range of drinks.
The best company for innovation also went to Innisfly for their paint products, which also functions as insecticides. Speaking at the event, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry Robert Ahum-Kanlensay challenged the private sector to take advantage of initiatives government is putting in place to revive and grow the economy.
We hear from you loud and clear, and we've started this already, by the way, about business regulation. You've said some of it, frankly, just doesn't help you. Some of it is a pain, and some of it you wonder if somebody's doing it just to make your life difficult for you. So we have a fundamental review of a business regulatory environment. It has started. Why are we doing that? Because we realize that you live in a competitive world, and if we're going to help you to grow, the only way we can do that is make sure we as government are doing what we should be doing in the regulation to support your business. But here is the deal. If we do that, we will expect you to deliver what you said you're going to do. We will make the hard decisions. But this private sector industrialization growth will mean nothing if we can't persuade you to do your part. Because government is not going to be creating SOEs, state-owned enterprises to run. You are the engine of growth. Ours is to provide the environment and the regulation to allow you to grow.
Asset and Arts also won the Best Fabrications Company, whilst Access Bank was adjudged the Best Financial Services Company in terms of support for manufacturing sector. The founder and chairman of Casapreco Company Limited, Dr. Kwabna Ajay, was also recognized with the Lifetime Achievement Award for his contribution to Ghana's manufacturing sector.
And that's all for business tonight. The news continues after the break.
Former rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Professor Stephen Addae, is proposing a much larger role for alumni of the country's tertiary institutions in the administration of their schools. He says rather than relying on government subventions, management of tertiary institutions should encourage those who have had the benefit of their training to play a much larger role. Professor Addae was speaking at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Alumni 9th Biennial Congress in the Volta Regional Capital Hall. Fred Kwame Asara's report.
The Congress was on the theme, Re-engineering Funding of Tertiary Education in Ghana, the Role of the Alumni. Speaking on the theme, Professor Stephen Addae, a professor of economic and leadership at Ashesi University, stated that tertiary institutions must create a well-detailed alumni database to establish a good network. He also advised that tertiary institutions should endeavor to give students the best campus experience to create a lasting impression that will make them committed to their alma mater after they graduate.
Make alumni relationship and cultivation next to the academic the most important thing for the leadership of the university. And this is where you must now make sure that students, when they come to take, have such a wonderful experience that when they go out, they want to always come back.
Professor Addae appealed to government to give equal attention to basic, secondary and tertiary education, though funds injected into basic education has not yielded satisfactory results, and proposed that basic school final examination subject should be reduced to a maximum of 5.
There are only 1,500 English words. We use 85% of the time. And the average child can absorb all of them in 6 months. But that is for another day. But I think that because of how we say, what we need to do in the basic education are these 4 things. And nobody hears me, so there will be anti-government crusade led by Stephen Addae, because it's so important. Children are the ones, like people with mental health, need others to speak for them.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, implored alumni to assist outwit the inequality in the country's educational system where some qualified persons are unable to access tertiary education due to financial challenges, and charged alumni and parents to remain committed to the development of the country's education system.
With a global decline in funding and logistical support for higher education, many institutions are looking to increase the levels of support received from alumni and other constituencies. One of the challenges plaguing the education system in Ghana is the inability of intellectually capable people to be in school because of serious financial challenges. We have situations where some students and people cannot move beyond the basic education certificate level because their parents cannot afford paying fees. We also have situations where very brilliant people manage to enter the universities and drop out in the process of time because of financial constraints. The role of alumni is needed in solving these inequalities in our educational system.
Fred Kwame Asaris reports for Joy News.
Now, the residents of Dagban and Tolon in the northern region have indicated a desire to reconcile following years of protracted chieftaincy conflict in the area with a symbolic chewing of white kola nut. The gesture suggests a preparedness of the feuding factions in the Dagban chieftaincy divide, the Abudus and Andanis, to embrace peace and make the kingdom strong again. It all happened on Sunday night when the regent of Dagban, Gampa Kuya Na Abdullahi Akubu Andani, made a brief stopover at the palace of the Tolon regent Sulemana Abubakari while on his way to inaugurate the house of the mother of the late overlord of Dagban, Ya Yakubu Andani. Hashmin Mohammed's report.
The stopover by the Dagban regent at the palace of the Tolon regent is significant in itself, considering the two have been beefing for a while now. It is also the first ever visit by one of the feuding factions to the palace of the other since the murder of the overlord of Dagban, Yana Yakubu Andane, and several others at the Bewa Palace in 2002. Tradition dictates that visitors will be given kola as a welcome gesture, but as explained by a senior elder at the Bewa Palace, Walenlana Abdullahi Suleimana, the white kola gesture is historic by all standards and a significant move towards the Dagban reconciliation.
Tolong is one of the paramount schemes, and you cannot pass over without stopping to see the grandfather. Ordinary followers should take note that this particular event today, he is calling for unity among all the Congress. But we have been divided for a very long time.
The regent of Tolong, now retired Major Suleimana Abubakari, who was delighted by the Dagban regent's visit to his palace, tells Joy News Dagban tradition is beginning to work again.
This sort of event is a sign from Allah that very soon we'll have peace, because it looks as if one of the biggest problems has been actually getting the Bugis agreed, and it looks as if there's this sort of trust now building up.
The refurbishment of the house belonging to the mother of the late overlord of Dagban at Langbong forms part of preparations towards the final funeral rite of Yana Yakubu Andani. For Joy News, Hashmin Mohammed reports from Dagban.
Now, retailers of Adonko Bitters, the Adonko Bitters alcoholic beverage, which was recently banned by the Food and Drugs Authority, are pushing for a reversal of the ban, which they say is taking a toll on their business. The FDA had also directed a recall of the product from the market over a report that the company had engaged in irresponsible marketing of the beverage. The retailers, however, say the FDA needs to reconsider the ban in the interest of their businesses.
The product is not being patronized as it were before.
Customers lately lament a lot on the lives that were lost in Kumasi following the consumption of the Adonko bitters.
I have not heard any suspension or lives being lost to the consumption of Adonko bitters. However, there's a high demand for the bitters. If it's been recalled, I believe it will affect my business greatly.
Oh, Adonko say they on no mutompa. Esese na abasu sese nti o mutopa.
But the head of communications and public education at the FDA, James Latte, says the directive is in the interest of consumer safety.
Well, you know, as a regulator, when you give these directives, you do some monitoring on your own to confirm whether the right directive is being followed. And I have noted myself that some places where directive will be aired, I'm not hearing it. I don't know whether other places being aired, but where I've been monitoring, I've not heard it. Yes, friend. And that tells us as a regulator that the directive is being followed. So we expect city that they will instruct their distributors and things not to distribute a product. That's what we expect as a regulator. But yes, understand that there's going to be activities and things. I cannot be very definite that the products will be sold or something of that nature, but we expect that once that directive has been given, the company will ensure that their products will not be marketed. We expect that. And we are monitoring. When I say we are monitoring, at least we have some of our offices in town, at places. If they see anything of that nature, they will let the FDA.
Right, so now to the Billy Goat story. 2 police officers at Assin Breku in the Central Region had to face disciplinary action for allegedly stealing a billy goat of their former boss, Chief Inspector Alhaji Abubakar Saliki. The supposed theft is said to have occurred when the Chief Inspector was a Assin Breku station officer. Residents are insisting on meting out sanctions against the accused officers, convinced they are guilty. Some have vowed they will resist future arrest if the 2 officers are not transferred from the community. Now, viewers are advised that the image of the goat accompanying the voices of the residents is not the said stolen billy goat.
For about 2
years now, the inspector has been complaining about the missing goats, humiliating residents of Brekum, thinking we are responsible, but we are not. Now it's emerged that 2 of his men have stolen his goats. We can't allow this to continue. If they cannot protect us, then there's no reason to keep them here. It's either they sack them or kick them out. Otherwise, we will resist any arrest from the police going forward.
There
are too many of such incidents in this town. Personally, I've lost about 8 fowls and a goat. The law must work in this case for everyone to know that indeed the laws work.
Let's take a quick break because we intend to find out a bit more about this said stolen billy goat, what's happened to the billy goat, and if there's been any update at all on that particular story. We'll take a quick break, we'll be back in a bit. All right, so we're going to Assin Breku to get a bit more about this story. There's a reporter there with Flash FM, and he's going to be telling Alfred Amo. He joins us on the phone line now. Good evening to you, Alfred. Now, this story about the billy goat that was stolen, what more can you tell us about it? I'm interested in the billy goat. Where is the billy goat at the moment?
The case actually happened at Assin Breku, like you just said.
Yeah.
It involves 2 police officers, like you read in the script. It's Ali and then the other guy. Actually, I don't have the script now, but like you said, it actually happened. The two police officers were actually with their boss. That's the station officer. He traveled, and the two police officers actually went and then took the billy goat. The goat was in the police station, so they took it and then they gave it to a guy in the town. Actually, they usually give him some rats and other things to prepare for them. So they took the goat and then gave it to the guy to actually.
Okay, just hold on a bit, Alfred. What was the billy goat doing in the police station?
It was for the chief inspector. He has some goat that he wear at the barracks.
Oh, okay. So it's in the barracks.
Yeah, he traveled, and then the two officers took one and actually sent it to a friend in town to slaughter it for them. So the two children of the station officer actually decided to look for that particular billy goat, which had not returned that very night. So through the search, they realized that the police officers took this thing and then give part of the meat to a friend, a wife of the police officer who took the goat. He gave part of the meat to a friend. So when they realized that the children were looking for the billy goat, the woman decided to tell the children that he suspects that maybe
the goat that was brought to them.
It's in question is what the friend gives part to her. So actually he informed the children, and they also told the father. So the father investigated and sent the guy to Asen Plaza. Asen Breku is under Asen Plaza. So they sent the two police officers there. That's where they confirmed that they took the billy goat.
So they have confessed?
Yeah, they confessed. And the case is currently with the regional police commander, and probably they will be interdicted. That's what the Asen Plaza divisional commander told me.
So they got the billy goat slaughtered and ate the meat and shared some?
Yeah, they shared some. The guy who slaughtered the meat told me they give him some of the meat, part of the meat.
Which part? Which part?
Actually, he said the intestines and other things, they prepared it that very night and they used it. Actually, they ate it. So what he had from the meat, the one police officer bought it 30 Ghana cedis. So what he took was the intestine. That's what he ate that particular night.
All right, thank you very much, Alfred Omu, for bringing us up to speed with a particular story. And as I indicated earlier, the billy goat you've seen on TV is not the billy goat in question. This is a billy goat we picked from the internet. A picture of a billy goat we picked on the internet. That's it.